Olivia's piano piece ended. Applause filled the small recital hall. The 7-year-old in a yellow dress beamed as she took a bow. An elderly woman in navy moved through the crowd, her eyes fixed on the girl at the piano.
Hi, sweetheart. I am your great-grandmother, Mary. My grandmother died of breast cancer in 1991. Mom said so. This can't be her.
Across the room, Helen Reeves froze. Her smile vanished. Her hand dropped to her side. Thomas glanced at his wife, then followed her stare toward the stranger.
Helen, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost.
But Helen couldn't answer. She was locked on the frail woman still holding Olivia's hands. The name Mary seemed to echo in the sudden silence around them. Olivia tilted her head, her smile innocent. The question of who this woman was hung in the air, unanswered. Helen's paralysis snapped. She shoved past the remaining guests, her eyes locked on the woman in navy.
Who are you? And what are you saying to my daughter?
Mary Ashford. I am Dorothy Harper's mother, your grandmother. This is your mother. The day she was born. I've kept this for 30 years.
On the back, in faded blue ink, Dorothy, 1966. Helen's hand shook as she stared at the image.
Olivia, sweetheart, let's go get some juice.
Thomas took Olivia's hand and guided her toward the lobby. His glance back at Helen was a warning.
May we sit somewhere quiet? I have a long story, and I don't have much time.
30 years of a lie. I need to hear this.
Helen gave a stiff nod, motioning toward the empty lobby. She needed answers, not another family secret buried. In a quiet corner of the recital hall lobby, Mary Ashford sat beside Helen and began to speak.
I am your mother's mother. I never died. I've been in Tucson all these years.
From a worn leather purse, she pulled a thick stack of envelopes, bound with a faded ribbon.
30 years of letters. She sent them all back. I gave up writing.
This is evidence. Mom lied. But why?
Helen's fingers tightened on the envelopes. Her breath came shallow.
I never stopped loving her. I need you to understand that.
My whole childhood was built on a lie.
I know. And I am sorry. But there is more you need to hear.
Helen looked up, raw and waiting. The stack of letters sat in her lap like a verdict in a coffee shop booth. Helen set the stack of letters on the table between them. Mary traced the rim of her cup, then began the story she had waited 30 years to tell.
In 1992, I told Dorothy that Robert was controlling and dangerous. She wouldn't listen. After their wedding, Robert gave her an ultimatum. Cut me off, or he would leave. She chose him. She told everyone I died of cancer in 1991.
The father who taught me to ride a bike did this.
I wrote hundreds of letters. She never opened one. They all came back.
Helen stared at the red stamps, each one a door slammed shut.
I just wanted her to know I was still here, that I still loved her.
Helen's hands trembled. The shape of her past was collapsing under the weight of a lie she'd never known existed.
I have stage I-4 pancreatic cancer. A few weeks, maybe. That's why I had to find you now.
The coffee shop noise faded. Helen couldn't breathe.
My friend's granddaughter saw Olivia's recital on a community Facebook page. She sent me the photo.
She slid the phone across the table. On it, a Facebook post with Olivia's beaming face at the piano.
Soon as I saw that little girl in a yellow dress, I knew. I had to try one last time.
She found me through a stranger's post. 30 years vanished, and she still came.
Helen looked between the screen and the old woman's trembling hands, her childhood a broken mirror.
I don't know how many more days I'll have. But I needed you to hear this before it's too late.
I will call you, Mary. I promise. I just need to think.
Outside, she climbed into her car and sat gripping the wheel, the weight of a hidden grandmother pressing on her chest.
Thomas, she's alive. My grandmother, Mary. She has cancer, And Mom lied to me for 30 years.
Alive? Oh God, Helen, I am here. We'll look into this together.
At the kitchen table, they searched public records. A Mary Ashford in Tucson matched her story.
The records match. But I need to hear it from Mom.
Her hand trembled as she picked up the phone and dialed her mother's number.
Mom, I met someone today who says she's your mother, Mary Ashford. She showed me a photo.
Mary Ashford is dead. That woman is a fraud. Don't you dare believe a stranger's lies. You are chasing ghosts, Helen. Drop this. You'll only hurt yourself and this family.
She had 30 years of letters you returned unopened. Why would a stranger have those?
The line went dead. Helen stared at the phone, the silence heavier than any confession. Helen dialed the number Mary had given her, the friend who had helped track her down. The voice on the other end was warm and familiar with Mary's story. She confirmed the lonely years in Tucson. She told Helen that Mary had recently given away most of her possessions, expecting to die.
She's real. Every detail matches. But Mom keeps pushing me away.
Then, Dorothy's voicemails began, each one tightening the vice around Helen's chest.
Helen, it's your mother. I am worried about you. Please don't drag this family through the mud. I sacrificed everything for you. You owe me the truth. That woman is a con artist.
Another message came before Helen could respond, angrier and more desperate.
If you keep digging, you'll lose us. Is that what you want? Your father is already not sleeping.
Helen stood in the kitchen, hands gripping the counter, the weight of her mother's words pressing down like a fist. The next afternoon, Helen and Thomas sat across from Mary in her modest hotel suite, a small table of evidence between them.
I kept a journal the year Dorothy cut me off. This is the entry from the night of the confrontation.
She slid the worn leather journal across, open to a page yellowed with age.
She told me I was dead to her. Robert stood in the doorway and forced her to say it.
It's all here. Every detail she told me. This can't be fabricated.
I also found this. The original letter Robert sent after the wedding, threatening divorce if she didn't cut me off.
She handed him a yellowed envelope, the handwriting cold and precise.
Helen, you have more than enough. You need to hear your mother's side, but confronting her isn't wrong.
I can't live in this limbo. I am going to their house tonight. I won't leave without the truth.
Mary reached across and covered Helen's hand with her own, a silent blessing for the battle ahead. Before confronting her mother, Helen wanted one more piece of the puzzle. She called the family's old neighbor from the 1990s. The elderly woman on the line recalled Dorothy being distraught about a family schism, but never spoke of a death.
Everyone believed a vague story, and I never questioned it.
Then her phone rang again. Dorothy's name appeared, and her voice carried a rehearsed urgency.
Helen, I just got a call from a woman pretending to be my mother. She's running some kind of scam. You must stay away from her. These people prey on emotions. Tell me you didn't fall for it.
Helen's foot lifted off the gas pedal. Her chest burned. She pulled the car to the shoulder and closed her eyes.
I am not falling for anything, Mom. But I am not falling for your story either. I am on my way to your house. She built a wall of lies around a dead grandmother. Now it's cracking.
She ended the call, turned the ignition, and drove toward her childhood home, the weight of every lie a map in her mind. She pulled into the familiar driveway and killed the engine. The house seemed smaller than when she'd left. The front porch sagged in the same spot she'd played on as a child, but the warmth was gone. Inside, the living room was already a courtroom. Robert lowered his newspaper like a gavel. Dorothy stiffened by the cold fireplace.
I need you to tell me about my grandmother, Mary. The truth this time, not the dead woman story.
Dorothy's face flickered, the practiced calm cracking at the edges.
Where did you hear that lying name?
From Mary Ashford herself. She is alive, Mom. I've seen her. I've held her letters.
Robert set his paper aside with a cold scrape, his jaw a steel trap, but he said nothing. Dorothy's hands began to tremble, but her mouth stayed sealed, a vault of secrets. Helen didn't move. She had waited 30 years for this moment. She wasn't leaving without an answer.
Your grandmother was an abusive alcoholic. I cut her off to protect you. She was dangerous. I told you she died because it was easier than explaining the truth.
Helen staggered back as if struck, the floor tilting under her feet.
An alcoholic. But Mary's letters were full of love, not anger.
It's true. Your mother did what she had to do. That woman is poison.
The words rang with cold finality, but no specific memory. No date, no detail, only accusation.
I've protected you from her for 30 years, and now you want to let her destroy this family?
Guilt flickered in Helen's chest, but the inconsistency gnawed. An alcoholic who wrote hundreds of letters, never missed a birthday.
If she was so dangerous, where are the treatment records? Any proof at all?
Dorothy's mouth opened, then shut. Robert looked away, and in that silence, a new, colder story began to unravel.
Treatment records from 30 years ago. They're lost, Helen. You can't hold that against me. I am your mother. Why won't you believe me, instead of a stranger who's clearly after something?
She's become an expert at manipulation over the years, and you are still naive enough to fall for it.
Every question leads to a new wall. No doctor, no witness, nothing but words. I want to believe you, Mom, but all I hear are defenses, not evidence.
I did what was necessary to protect you. You should be grateful, not interrogating me.
Robert's voice cut across the room, flat and final.
If you walk out that door chasing a ghost, don't bother coming back.
They'd rather lose me than admit the truth.
Helen turned without a word. The door clicked shut behind her, the silence heavier than any answer. That evening, Helen went straight to Mary's hotel. She needed the other side of the story.
My mother says you were an abusive alcoholic, that she cut you off to protect me.
Mary's face didn't harden. It crumpled into an anguish 30 years deep.
No. That was the story Robert made her tell. But I kept every letter she ever sent before it went dark.
She reached into her purse and placed a small silver key in Helen's palm.
Safety deposit box in Tucson. Go see what my daughter wrote when she still loved me.
Later, in a cold bank vault, Helen turned the key. The long metal box slid open. Inside, a bundle of letters from Dorothy, dated months before the cutoff, full of love. Beneath them, a note in Robert's handwriting. Cut her off or I leave. You know what you have to do. Helen's hands shook as she held the truth. The lies of 3 decades finally exposed in black and white. Helen drove straight to her parents' house, the evidence heavy on the passenger seat. Pushed the front door open without knocking. Dorothy stood by the cold fireplace, already alert.
I found the safety deposit box. Your letters to Mary, full of love, and Dad's threat to leave you.
Dorothy's face went white as she recognized her own handwriting from decades ago.
You went through private things. You've ruined everything. I had no choice. Robert was all I had.
Robert stood, grabbed his coat, and walked out without a word, the front door slamming behind him.
You sacrificed your own mother to keep a man who gave you an ultimatum.
You don't know what it was like. You've never been trapped, never been desperate.
Helen left, the house quieter than a grave. In the car, she dialed Mary, her voice steady despite the tears.
I am bringing you home. Mary, you are not alone anymore.
Helen and Thomas turned the guest room into a warm space, soft sheets, a vase of yellow roses, Olivia's drawing on the nightstand. Mary arrived with a small suitcase and a lifetime of silence, pausing at the threshold as if expecting to be turned away.
Are you really my great-grandmother? Mom said you died before I was born.
I am here now, sweetheart. And I'd love to hear you play piano if you'd let me.
That evening, Olivia's fingers found the keys, a simple lullaby filling the living room.
This is what she waited 30 years to hear. A child's music, and a place to belong.
In the days that followed, a quiet rhythm took hold. Meals shared, stories of Tucson's sunsets, and Olivia's daily piano practice.
I've never seen the house feel more full. You did the right thing, Helen.
You are home, Mary. For whatever time you have, this is where you belong.
Mary's fingers tightened around Helen's. A lifetime of longing answered in a single squeeze. A letter arrived from Dorothy, full of fury and blame. Helen read it once and buried it in a drawer. Mary's body grew lighter, her voice thinner. Helen learned to measure morphine and arrange pillows for comfort.
Dorothy was 6 when she learned to ride a bike. She fell 7 times, but got up every single time. I dreamt she'd play piano like Olivia. Now I get to hear it.
The doctor's face said it before his words came. A matter of days, not weeks.
Days, not years, not months. Days. We just found her.
That night, Helen pulled a chair closer and memorized the fragile rhythm of Mary's breathing.
We'll be here through every moment. She's not alone now.
Helen canceled work, set up a hospital bed in the living room, and told Olivia that Great Gran was very tired. The house held its breath, each day a borrowed gift, each note of Olivia's piano a prayer.
Helen, will you call a lawyer for me? I have some things to put in order.
A lawyer came that afternoon. Mary signed papers with a trembling hand, her eyes meeting Helen's across the room. That evening, Mary unclasped the locket from her neck and pressed it into Helen's palm.
This was meant for Dorothy. Give it to Olivia when she's older. Tell her it came from family that loved her.
Olivia sat at the upright piano and played a soft melody. Mary's eyes, heavy with exhaustion, found the music. For 41 days, the house was filled with that gentle song. On the final evening, Mary slipped into a deep sleep. Helen sat beside her, holding her hand, feeling each breath grow shallower.
I barely found you. Please don't leave yet.
At 3:47 a.m., Mary Ashford exhaled once and was still. The locket lay warm in Helen's pocket. The house fell silent, but the echo of piano keys and whispered stories lingered in every corner. The funeral was small. Just Helen, Thomas, Olivia, and a handful of friends from Tucson. Yellow roses were placed on the casket, one for each decade of silence. After the funeral, the lawyer led them to a quiet conference room and opened a thin folder. Mary Ashford's estate totaled $186,000, saved in a Tucson account across 3 decades of returned letters. To my granddaughter, Helen Reeves, I leave everything. The sum I always hoped my daughter would one day accept.
Every penny saved for a daughter she never got to hold. And she gave it all to me.
Helen's composure dissolved. 30 years of grief and love poured onto the paper in her lap. She looked at Thomas, her voice raw but certain.
I am going to create a music scholarship in her name at Olivia's school for piano students.
Thomas squeezed her hand. Olivia, curled on the armchair, smiled without fully understanding the weight of the moment. The lawyer took down her instructions. Mary Ashford's name would be etched in bronze in music, never again in silence. A week later, Helen sat across from the school principal and the music director, a draft proposal in front of her.
The scholarship will cover full tuition for one piano student each year in Mary Ashford's name.
The principal nodded, and the music director smiled. The paperwork was approved.
It's real. Her name will be spoken every year, not erased.
Back home, her phone buzzed. Dorothy's name glared from the screen.
Helen, please, we need to talk. I've made mistakes, but shutting me out won't fix anything.
I am not ready, Mom. You built a life on a lie, and I am still breathing its dust. I need space.
So that's it. You choose a dead woman over your own mother?
Helen ended the call, her hand steady, but her heart splintered. Later, Thomas pulled her close. She didn't cry, just leaned into the silence they'd built together. Months passed. Olivia never missed a day of practice, the gold locket resting over her heart.
She's keeping her promise. Every note is a prayer.
The scholarship committee selected its first recipient, a shy student whose hands trembled when she read the letter. On a crisp autumn afternoon, Helen knelt at Mary's grave with a single yellow rose. She traced the engraved letters of Mary Ashford, the stone cool under her fingers.
You would have loved this. A scholarship for music. Olivia wears your locket every day.
Later, on the porch, she opened the old album. Mary at 20. Smiling like she'd already won, Olivia appeared and sat beside her, the locket catching the last orange light.
The cycle is broken. She'll never be a ghost again.
And in the quiet dusk, with the piano silent and the locket warm, the house felt whole. 3 springs after Mary's death, the school auditorium filled again for the spring recital. The program listed Olivia Reeves, age 10, performing a piece dedicated to my great-grandmother, Mary. Olivia walked to the grand piano, the gold locket at her throat catching the stage light. In the 3rd row, Helen's breathing shallowed. She reached beside her and found Thomas's hand.
The last time she played for Mary, the room held a hospital bed. Now it holds a promise.
She watched her daughter's fingers hover over the keys, back straight, breath held. The first note quivered in the silence. Then the melody began to climb. Beside her, Thomas quietly pressed a handkerchief into her palm, his eyes also wet. The music was a bridge, from a stranger's whisper at a recital long ago to this moment of unbroken memory. And in the middle of the song, Helen closed her eyes and let the sound carry her home. Olivia's fingers danced over the keys, the melody rising like a long-held breath, finally released. Her eyes lifted from the sheet music and found Helen's face in the 3rd row. For a suspended second, mother and daughter were the only 2 people in the hall. The final chord shivered in the air. Then silence held the room. Olivia raised her hand from the keys and gently touched the gold locket at her throat. Applause erupted, a wave of sound rushing forward from the darkened audience. Helen rose to her feet, tears carving clean lines down her cheeks, her hands pressed together. On stage, Olivia smiled, a soft, knowing smile that held 4 generations. The camera lingered as the spotlight brightened, the locket glinting like a distant star. And then the light faded, but the note never really ended.